What is up, Nuggets? It's your boy, Killer Pizza here with a brand new video for all my horror hounds out there. And today we have something pretty fun. A film I just watched for the very first time last night, that being 1993's Body Bags. Now, I must say, from what I understand, Body Bags was kind of Showtime's answer to HBO's Tales from the Crypt. It was intended to be an anthology television show, but apparently in the long run, Showtime wanted to cut the budget and they wanted to move the filming location from Los Angeles to Canada. And all the people behind it thought, there's no way they could, live up to the pilot episode with lesser of a budget. So they decided just to axe it right then and there. So what we got out of that was the standalone film, Body Bags, which is directed by John Carpenter and Tobe Hooper. This was a very, very, very fun movie. I must say right out the bat, first thing I recognize is the score. The music was by John Carpenter, and what surprised me, if anybody's familiar with Jim Lang, who actually, I knew from doing the music growing up to Hey Arnold on Nickelodeon, it was kind of interesting to find out he had a role in the music with John Carpenter on a horror film like this. But, that aside, we're off to a great start with the music, and we get introduced to our morgue worker right here, which is actually John Carpenter. And I must say, right off the bat, he does an amazing job. He's pretty much playing the role of the Crypt Keeper, introducing each anthology short story one by one. There's 3 of them in total, and he's introducing each one as this creepy morgue worker. And he's absolutely funny. I never really seen John Carpenter act, and it was really great. And he kind of is walking by all these bodies that have the white sheets over them. He's saying how these are boring deaths, these are natural causes, this or that. And when he gets to the body bags, he explains like the body bags are where the suicides, the murders, all this are. And so that's kind of how he introduces all these stories. He will go up and kind of unzip a bag. Each body bag he unzips starts a new story. So we start with, and excuse me that I don't remember the names of these 3 stories off the top of my head. And I don't have any notes. I'm doing this real quick before work. But anyways, the first one is about this girl who's getting a new job at a gas station kind of in the middle of nowhere. And all these like fun facts I have to throw in here. Like as she's riding up to get dropped off to her new job, they're listening to the radio and they say there's a maniac on the loose, a serial killer from Haydenfield. And this being a John Carpenter project, that is where Michael Myers is from. So horror nerd me wants to think that these took place in the same universe, at least this skit in the same universe as Halloween. But anyways, this sets the tone. The girl's completely spooked. She meets her boss. He kind of leaves her to do her thing. And there's not much to say about like this actual story. It's just customer after customer showing up, and it's building the tension. Each customer has something different to them where it might like give her reassurance that everything's okay, but then the next customer comes up and they creep her out, and she doesn't know who the murderer is because she's thinking everybody's the murderer, And with John Carpenter's music, the atmosphere, the environment, the setting, it is perfect to build tension. And we get another 2 really cool cameos in here. The first one being Wes Craven, who comes up as a really creepy customer buying cigarettes. But the little story goes on. She gets locked out of her little booth at one point. She has to go get the keys from this auto shop next door. The homeless guy's kind of creeping her out. She's thinking that's the killer. Gives him the key to the bathroom. All this, makes it back into her little shack or whatever you call it. And then she starts noticing that things are going wrong in like the auto shop, like the cars rising up and down. So she goes to check it out. And I must say, like, I'm not hating, but this girl makes all the worst decisions. Like, I mean, I live like right outside of Detroit, Metro Detroit. So like the gas stations I go to have like glass in between us and the workers. So like if I was her, I would just stay in the damn shack the whole time. Fuck it. But she goes into this like auto shop right next door and finds the homeless man killed in there. And she's freaking out, trying to get out of there, runs back to her little booth. And that's when she realizes the boss who set her up is the killer, the serial killer. He's coming after. He's got this big machete. He's got a sledgehammer. He comes in. He starts busting up the bullet-proof glass with a sledgehammer. So there goes my strategy in the situation out the window. She's in the back trying to figure out a way to escape. And then in the process, she opens up a locker. I think she's looking for weapons or something. And Sam Raimi just falls out dead. Like, and he had a little picture earlier in the skit, like Employee of the Month. You see Sam Raimi from most known for directing Evil Dead. But yeah, then he falls right on her. And I must say, from Intruder I just watched recently to this, like, Sam Raimi is really good at acting dead. Like, all these cameos he does, he just does a dead guy. And always with his eyes open. Creepy as shit. But anyways, she's fighting off this guy, hits him with a chair. He's knocked out. She walks away, doesn't double check. He gets back up, goes to attack her, and just collapses again. She walks away again, sits down again. It's like, come on, lady. Why? What are you just sitting there for? When this killer's after you, I would be running my ass off like the police are after me or something. But right when he comes at her the third time, she's actually saved by a customer who was there earlier, who's actually, I can't remember his name, but he was the guy from An American Werewolf in London. So there's another cool cameo. And he saves her, and he actually came back because she had his credit card. She forgot to give it back. That's how she got locked out in the first place. And last thing he says is, I think you have my credit card. After they end up killing the serial killer or whatnot, you know, they end up like dropping the whole car in the auto place down on his back, and all the blood comes spraying out. It was some pretty brutal stuff. But yeah, that was pretty good. That was the first skit. I really liked it. We bounced back to John Carpenter, who's going to introduce the next one, which I would say the next one's more of a science fiction kind of short story, kind of the Twilight Zone vibe I kind of got, where it's all about this middle-aged guy who's balding. His hair is thinning, and he's really upset about it, and he's trying everything to try to, you know, he's trying to spray on his head, he's trying to comb it over, a toupee, nothing will work. And he finally sees this ad on TV. It says, no hair plugs, no nothing. It's all natural. Come down, we'll give you a full head of hair. He goes and meets this doctor, and they do the little operation or whatnot. He wakes up the next morning, bandages on his head, takes him off, and he's got a full head of hair. You know, I'm talking Shawn Michaels hair before he went bald. Like, you know, so he's so happy. He's showing off all around town. His girlfriend's loving it. He's loving it, but quickly, like a day in, he's feeling sick, and he's got to cancel his date and everything. He's getting sicker and sicker, and his hair is growing like 6 inches a day, and he's got to go get a haircut every day. Then he wakes up one morning, and he's got all these sores all over his face, and hair's growing out of his cheeks. He looks like Robin Williams in Jumanji, the original. So he goes back to the doctor, and he's like, what the hell's going on here? And the doctor, here's a little twist, which makes it a little science fiction theme. The doctor says, like, they're aliens from outer space, and humans are so gullible and stupid to get what they want that they just tricked people into getting this hair transplant, where really they're inserting these little, like, worm-like creatures into the body of the people. And this essentially starts eating their brain alive, and this is how the aliens have planned to take over the planet. Which I didn't see that coming. That was pretty wild, and that's pretty much where it ends. This guy just with a blank stare and looks like he's brain dead at that point. And yeah, I mean that one was pretty wild too. So then we cut back to John Carpenter once again, who is still absolutely killing it. I can't get enough of this. Like, it's kind of disappointing, his character right here, that this was like the only time this character was really around, because I love this like mortician that he plays. But anyways, he goes into the very last short story we have, and it's funny, I watched this last night, and I didn't know that the guy Mark Hamill, who plays the lead in the short story, was Luke Skywalker from Star Wars. Like, because I'll admit, I've never really seen a Star Wars movie before. I'm not a big fan of science fiction action. I know one day I'll probably check him out, but yeah, he's the main actor in this. I must say, does an absolutely amazing job. He's playing the role of this baseball player. I think he plays in like the minor leagues, and he's getting all these home runs, and they're telling him, you're about to make it to the big leagues. So he's all in a great mood. Cloud9 calls his wife. She's got a little surprise for him, and it looks like she's going to announce to him that they're going to have a baby. He's going to be a dad, you know, so everything's looking good. He's driving home on a rainy night. He's trying to grab a cassette tape off the floor, you know. Cassette tapes are what we had before CDs, and that's what we had before MP3s and digital downloads, kids. But yeah, he's going for the tape, and he gets in this crashes right into a tree. A couple pulls over to help him, and this is where we get some pretty good gore right here. That he turns back, It shows he's got this big shard of glass in his eye, and it's fucking gnarly. It's nasty. He gets rushed to the hospital. When he wakes up, he thinks he just has a concussion from the accident. And the doctor tells him, no, your eye is gone. And he has like a nervous breakdown saying, I'm a baseball player. That's the eye I see the baseball with. So eventually, while he's still in the hospital room, a doctor comes in and he tells him it's like an experimental eye surgery. He's never done it before. He'll put the eye in him. And if it fucks up, they'll just take it back out and start from square one. So, his wife's a little tentative. He's all for it. They do the little eye surgery. He wakes up and he can see. Everything seems like it's going great. He makes it home. He's kind of recovering. And he starts seeing like these flashes. He gets these flashes and starts seeing like a body coming out of the ground for where he's going to be doing the yard work. When he looks out the window, he starts seeing like a arm coming out of the drain with all this blood, like a body got stuffed down the drain. He gets this vision of this old woman with like cut up face and just scary, spooky shit. And it starts with him getting like headaches from it, like kind of like in Pumpkinhead. And then it turns into like him really just like collapsing and just losing it and everything. And then it gets to like probably the most disturbing scene of the movie is where like he is having sex with his wife at night, and he starts having these flashbacks like he's on top of this corpse, like having sex with this corpse. And then it really gets like into like almost a rapey vibe, and she's screaming and everything. He bites her on the shoulder and she jumps up crying and freaking out, and he tells her, leave me the fuck alone, all this. And I must say this part really was kind of tough to watch. I'm not going to say this was like Last House on the Left kind of brutal rape scene, but I don't really like seeing that shit in general. Luckily it didn't last very long and it was all part of the story. But things are going more and more crazy for this guy, and his wife don't want nothing to do with him. So he goes back to the doctor. What the hell did you do to me? Where did you get the eye from? Where did you get the eye from? He tells him the name. He runs up to the library to research who it is. He finds out the eye is from the serial killer who killed many, many women and would put their bodies down the garbage disposal or bury them in his backyard in shallow graves and all this. And he's thinking he's losing his fucking mind because he's pretty much seeing the visions of the serial killer. So he goes back home. He's digging this hole, and the wife comes back, and she says, what's going on? What are you doing? He's talking to her, small talk, and he says, I hope you're ready because I'm digging your grave. He swings the shovel at her. He's going at her, and they start fighting in the dining room, and it's brutal. And this guy, Mark Hamill, unbelievable acting. He comes off so deranged. And then she's trying to fight him off. She's picking up the Bible that he was reading earlier to try to get this evil out of him. She's reciting Bible verses, talking about their unborn kid. He's kind of like fighting between good and evil, not knowing what to do. And he's got these garden shears that he was going to kill her with. And he ends up taking these garden shears and just right through his eye. That is absolutely brutal. I must say, between the glass going in his eye and then the transplant scene when they're putting the eye in, which they show, and then him stabbing his eye like this is some of the nastiest gore I've seen with someone's eye since the original zombie, Lucia Fulci zombie. Like when the wood goes through the girl's eye, this is absolutely nasty. I had to kind of look away. But yeah, the third story had me shook. It was absolutely wild. And yeah, if I had to rank them, I would say the gas station one was the best. The third one, though, was kind of tough to watch, was pretty good for what it was. And then the hair transplant one was probably the weakest. But all around, all three stories were pretty fun. And then we go to a little ending scene, which is like the best part of the movie, where John Carpenter is in there in the morgue, and he hears people coming. He goes, "Oh shit!" And he hops in a body bag and zips it up. It turns out he was a corpse the whole time while these morticians were upstairs. So they come down, and it's Tobe Hooper and Tom Arnold, and they start going to work on John Carpenter. And it's funny, they would look away and he would look up, and they say something like, "Oh, get the bone scalpel" or something. He's like, "Bone scalpel, like shit." So it kind of ends that way, kind of fun, So all around, I had a really good time with this. And I must mention, out of these three short stories, I meant to say this earlier, the first two, the gas station and the hair transplant, were directed by John Carpenter, where the final one with the eye was a Tobe Hooper. He directed that one, which pretty good work by Tobe Hooper, I must say, because I hate to say it, but he's kind of inconsistent with the stuff he works on, in my opinion. But I had fun with all the stories. I had fun with all the cameos and everything, the music. This was just overall a pretty fun tribute to horror. If you're a horror fan, you're going to be nerding out the whole time, just trying to see all these cameos and everything. Not too many kills in this, but the gore was really good. Music was really good. Great directing, obviously. I would definitely suggest this film to any horror fan out there. This is a must-have in your collection. Really, really fun stuff. So yeah, highly suggest picking this one up. And other than that, that's all I really got to say about this film. So yeah, so I guess Christmas is coming. I think I'm going to get a couple Christmas horror movie reviews. I think I'm going to do one Silent Night, Deadly Night, or Black Christmas, the original. One or the other I plan on doing, maybe both. Yeah, if you guys like this, like, comment, subscribe, share, Blood Guts Gore. I will see you guys next time.